Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Welcome back to another edition of Monday Night Magic. This is episode number 4 in the series, and since I did a dual deck last week, I figured I may as well continue and do another dual deck here this week. I've had this one for a little while now, actually, and I haven't opened it yet. I wanted to do it on camera, where I had opened the other one previously, so this is the Zendikar versus Eldrazi dual deck. I picked this up actually at a store in Wolfville, Nova Scotia called Rainbow's End. So I actually left the price sticker on there because I really liked the price. The Blessed versus Cursed dual deck cost me about $30. So I was glad to be able to pick this one up for only $23. So again, this has two 60-card decks that are designed to play against one another. So we'll do an actual full unboxing, and we'll see what's inside. Alright, so just before I pull everything out here, just want to have a quicker look at the package. I like the color scheme, actually, with the gray and the green. The gray sections obviously have more of a skeletal thing going for them there. I suspect it's probably something to do with the Eldrazi and the effect that they have. And then just on the back, it says the battle for Zendikar begins here. Drawing on powerful mana that surges through the roiling land, Zendikar's forces have joined together to defend their plane. The Eldrazi titans, trapped for thousands of years, have broken their bonds. Now their numberless spawn begin to overrun Zendikar. Can Zendikar resist this onslaught, or will the Eldrazi triumph? So this came out prior to, or right around the same time as the Battle for Zendikar expansion came out. So this basically has 6 cards from that expansion, and it says 4 cards with new artwork. So if since I don't have any Battle for Zendikar stuff, if anybody knows what the cards are that have the alternate artwork, just let me know. But here it shows just the contents, so 2 60-card decks, 2 deck boxes, 10 creature tokens, 2 spin down life counters, strategy insert, and the rules reference guide, and just a picture there, preview of some of the cards. So I've got the top opened up here. So let's just have a look inside. We'll pull everything out and see what we got. Okay, so in the back here, we just have our rules reference card. If you saw the video last week, it's probably the exact same. Yeah, it looks like the exact same card, so I'm not going to go in through all that again. But here we have the dual decks, Zendikar versus Eldrazi. And this is probably pretty similar, where it's the, once I get it all, yeah, so it shows the deck lists for each deck. Just some artwork there, shows some of the tokens, and just on the back here, some flavor text. I'm not going to go through it all there, and again, just some pretty decent artwork here. So, with that out of the way, let's have a look at the deck boxes. Nothing too fancy, and unlike the ones that I did last week that actually has like some creatures on them, this just has the set, Zendikar versus Eldrazi, and just kind of more of the artwork that you saw on the box itself. So nothing too fancy there. Don't know if I'm actually going to end up folding these boxes out or not, where I have some sleeves at this point. So these might just stay as is because they don't fit sleeved cards. They're designed to fit just basically the 60 cards and nothing else unsleeved. So even the tokens don't fit in here. So we'll just move those aside from now. And our spin down counters. Whoa. Well, it's a bit of a repeat. So it's got the same patterns as the ones that I did last week. So the Blessed versus Cursed uses the exact same spin down counters. So there you go. And we've got our promo cards, as well as the decks themselves still in their cellophane wrap. So we'll look at the Zendikar one first. So it's a mythic rare, Avenger of Zendikar. So 7 mana, Sorry, I think the foil has an effect on the camera focus, but it's a 5/5. When Avenger of Zendikar enters the battlefield, put a 0/1 green plant creature token on the battlefield for each land you control. And then for landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. So that might be a pretty powerful way to get some tokens out. So that's pretty cool. And I don't actually really know anything about these decks, so I don't know what the colors are or anything. I'm assuming obviously Zendikar has some green in it. And then we'll look at the Eldrazi one, the Oblivion Sower. So it's a 5/8 for 6 colorless. When you cast Oblivion Sower, target opponent exiles the top 4 cards from his or her library. You may then put any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. So that's pretty cool. I'm seeing a few things with these decks, and I've heard a few reviews of these particular decks. So my understanding is that the Zendikar deck is a little underpowered, and the Eldrazi deck is pretty tough. So that being said, I'll have a look at the Zendikar deck here first. So it is still shrink wrap, so we'll pull that out of the shrink wrap, and we'll go through each of the cards. Alright, so I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm not going to rearrange the cards or anything. I'm just going to go through them in the order that they were in. So I haven't actually looked through these yet. This will be the first time I get to go through this deck. So the first card looks like it's a rare. Everything you can see, it should be on screen, so I'm not going to go through the rarity values, but you should be able to see that. This is a Scoot Mob. Veteran War Leader. Seer's Sundial. Primal Command, and a Stirring Wildwood enters battlefield tapped, and you can actually turn it into a 3/4 green and white elemental creature with reach, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got a Caravan Escort, which looks like it has leveling mechanics. So for 2 mana, you can level up, put a level counter on this creature, or counter on this, level up only as a sorcery. And looks like we got 2 of those. I guess this is probably going to use the level up mechanic a little bit. So we got Beast Breaker of Balaged, which can get up to 6/6 with trample. Frontier Guide. Knight of Cliffhaven. Stonework Puma. Daggerback Basilisk. Grazing Gladeheart. Tajiru Archer. Guard Hound. Turntimber Basilisk. Looks like a lot of these things may have landfall as well. So Grey Pelt Hunter. 2 of those. Doraga Bard. Ondu Giant. Or Ondu. One of those hopefully. Kabira Vindicator. Makindi Griffin. Wild Heart Invoker. Territorial Baloth. Again with landfall. 2 of those looks like. Explorer Scope. Groundswell. Oust. Colney Heart Expedition. Looks like there might be some land acceleration in this deck as well. It's pretty cool. Harrow. Retreat to Kazandu. Repel the Darkness. Sheer Drop. 2 of those. Evolving Wilds. So a way of searching for lands. 2 of those. Grey Pelt Refuge, which is a dual land. There's 1. 2 of those. Turn Timber Grove, which you can, it's a land, but you can tap it for mana, or you can, when it enters battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1. Pretty cool. And 2 of those. And then we just got our, looks like our basic lands here, so forests, and obviously plains would be the other one. And then we've just got some tokens. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plant tokens. Alright, so cool. That is the... Oh, let's have a look here. So that is our Zendikar deck. So next we'll have a look at the Eldrazi deck. Alright, so here we have our Eldrazi deck. So let's see what we got here. I guess we got the bears in front again. So we got a Magma, Butcher of Malakar. It Betrays, 11/11 with Annihilator. Consume the Meek. And Hellion Eruption. All creatures you control, or sacrifice all creatures you control, and then put that many 4/4 red Hellion creature tokens on the battlefield. Rune Servitor. 2 of those. Bloodthorn Vampire. And again, if you want to see what the abilities are, either I'll try to leave it on as long as I can, or just pause the video and you can kind of see what they have for abilities. Forerunner of Slaughter. Bloodright Invoker. Dominator Drone. 2 of those. Torch Slinger. Goblin Shaman. Cadaver Imp. Pawn of Ulamog. Vampire Nighthawk. Heartstabber Mosquito. 2 of those. Emrakul's Hatcher. 2, 3 of those. Ulamog's Crusher. Artisan of Kozilek. Forked Bolt. And a couple of those. Mind Stone. 1, 2 of those. Smother. Marsh Casualties. Induce Despair. Read the Bones. 2 of those. Corpse Hatch. And a dual land here. We've got Alcombe Refuge. So it's black and red. We got 2 of those, 3 of those. Oh, just 3 of those. Then we have an Eldrazi Temple. So you can get up to 2 mana for Eldrazi spells. Oh, and another, let's have a look here. Oh, this must be one, I think what they call it a fetch land, where you sacrifice it to search for land card. So we got 2 of those, and then we've got our, looks like just our basic lands. So we got our swamps. Actually, I kind of like the artwork on those, and then our mountains. So obviously very themed to the Zendikar itself, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got some tokens here, so Eldrazi Spawn, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and a Hellion. So yeah, those are the dual decks there. Zendikar versus Eldrazi. Just a quick story here before I finish. I have Duel of the Planeswalkers, 2014, downloaded on my Xbox 360, and one of the decks that I have that I use in there quite a bit. I just play the single player, but it's an Eldrazi green, like an Eldrazi deck with green in it. So it's got a lot of green acceleration and some of these Eldrazi in it. So like Ulamog's Crusher and It Betrays are two of the Eldrazi that are in there, and there's actually quite a few cards from that deck in the Zendikar deck as well. So something that if I get a few more of the cards, I might eventually maybe break these down and just make that deck, which is kind of cool. One of the reasons that I wanted to get it, I wanted to play some of the Eldrazi. Something tells me if I end up playing this with my fiance, she's going to want to use this deck, and I'll be stuck with the Zendikar deck. I haven't played it myself personally, but again, it looks like it's kind of overpowered towards the Eldrazi side. But I'd like to have a few games of it and see. So if I end up playing a few games in a future video, I might discuss kind of how those went. But for now, that's Zendikar versus Eldrazi. Again, I picked this up in Wolfville, Nova Scotia at Rainbow's End for $22.99, so 23 bucks. In my opinion, it's going to be well worth it, just for the fun of getting to play these decks. And hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit better if I end up playing Zendikar than the other people I've watched play Zendikar. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll get a chance to enjoy these decks. So until next week, thanks for watching, everyone.